We good?
Yes.
Okay, well, so we have two people here evidently.
Yeah.
So, my name is Colleen Imstead. I work at NDSU in the athletic department and basically do all of our NCAA compliance, eligibility, recruiting, all the rules that we basically have, follow the NCAA rules, that sort of thing. Have students or kids that are athletes here? Okay.
Yeah,
You're just visiting.
Mine's far away, but
Okay.
my base might not be
Yeah, fantastic. No.
up here.
Heard of the NCAA, the National Collegiate Athletic Association. Okay, that's fantastic. I've been at NDSU for 20 years, and I got here in 05. I was a women's basketball player at Southern Illinois, University of Carbondale, so back in the day, a long time ago. And then also was an assistant women's basketball coach at Northern Iowa prior to coming to NDSU, and then I say I went to the dark side. You go from coaching to administration, right? So got into compliance and then came up here to NDSU kind of in the middle of their transition from D2 to D1, and they needed a full-time compliance person. So I was it, but I've been here ever since. Love Fargo, love NDSU. I've seen a lot of things, a lot of changes going on, but just wanted to come and talk a little bit about kind of initial eligibility for what students are going to need getting into. This is going to be Division I, okay? There's different things, and we're gonna talk about that a little bit. But so the NCAA is made up of D1, D2, and D3 institutions. So it's kind of just a little map of where things are. And then other than Division I, II, and III, there's also NAI, which is just kind of a step below the D3, that sort of thing. Who's NAI? Jamestown, Valley City, Dickinson State, and Mayville. They're all NAIA schools in North Dakota. And then the junior colleges, it's like the 2-year college is kind of your pre-college before they might transfer to a 4-year school, that sort of thing. NDSCS in North Dakota is a junior college. So that's that. So Division I, II, and III, this is NDSU right here, is in the Division I level, basically, kind of your highest collegiate athletic level that you can be. So there's just kind of different, I got this off of the NCAA website, basically just kind of information about how many students would be athletes at a Division I school, basically 1 in 22, 1 in 7 at Division II, 1 in 5 at Division III, basically saying that you're gonna have more participation at Division III. There's sometimes bigger schools or smaller schools, but have everybody participating in sports at some level and that sort of thing. Division III does not give athletic scholarships, but they give a lot of non-athletic aid, that sort of thing. Division I and II, they do give athletic scholarships. So, just some information there. This is a really good publication. It's on the NCAA website. It's a guide for the college-bound student athlete. A lot of information for students that think they want to be a college athlete, whether that's Division I, II, or III. So it's a really good resource out there that talks about a lot of things, from eligibility to recruiting to how you choose a school and that sort of thing. So it's a really good piece that's on the NCAA website, which is just ncaa.org. There's more people here. Has anyone heard of the NCAA Eligibility Center? Okay, this is kind of a clearinghouse that basically will evaluate all transcripts and then will give the approval whether a student is eligible their first year at a Division I institution. Okay, so we're gonna go through some of those steps, but it does a academic certification and also does an amateurism certification, making sure that your student is still an amateur coming out of high school to play college athletics. So that is based in Indianapolis, and so it evaluates all students going to Division I and Division II. Okay. So students have to register with it. They can do a free profile page account. They can do an amateurism only, And then if you're going Division I, you have to have the academic and amateurism certification account, because we have to do all that in order to be certified your initial year in college, okay? But the website is pretty easy to navigate and that sort of thing. Yeah, just starting the free profile page is really good, because you can just make sure that you're gonna get your name in there, get your account started, that sort of thing. It's free, and then anytime if you're gonna be going on, you think you're gonna be playing Division I or II, then you need to transition that account to the amateurism and academic account. And that's gonna cost you. And I think actually it's $110 now, so everything is going up, but, international students, I think it's about $150, so. So yeah, you're gonna change the account, you go to, this one. We can talk about official visits a little bit later, and then also signing and that sort of thing, but that's the one account that kids they need for eligibility purposes. So kind of a timeline of what high school students can do once they're registered with the Eligibility Center. As a freshman, you can register, you don't necessarily have to, but it's kind of nice just to get your name in there and get things started. 10th grade, 11th grade, just getting a transcript to the Eligibility Center is really good, because they can do an unofficial evaluation, they can see if you're making progress in the core courses that you need, that sort of thing. And then definitely as a senior, you've got to get your final transcript there with the graduation date and that sort of thing, but we'll go through a little bit of what core courses are and that sort of thing, but once you set an account up, they give you tasks that you have to do basically every year, whether that's, hey, remember to do your amateurism, remember to get a transcript there, oh, by the way, you need to look at this, you need to look at that, or this is missing off your transcript, talk to your counselor, that sort of thing. Okay, core courses, obviously, just kind of your basic high school courses, right? In the core courses that you have to have: English, math, science, social science, potentially languages and that sort of thing, some religion classes. But Fargo South does have a list of NCAA approved core courses, which I think I got off the website, yeah. So here's just contact information that I got off of the Eligibility Center website for Fargo South High School. Probably can't see these very well, but these are the approved English courses that kids can take, freshman, sophomore, junior, senior, and then any other thing. So most of the time, there's a lit classes will count, but if there's any English class that might some journalism classes don't count, like a yearbook, right? If you're in a yearbook class, that's probably not gonna count as a core course in English, so. But those are the approved ones for Fargo South for English. Social science, there's a whole gamut of choices, so you just gotta make sure when you're picking your classes, if you know that you wanna play Division I or Division II athletics, just knowing that you're taking core courses, right? You don't wanna be taking, a lot of PE, a lot of shop. I mean, you can take those courses, obviously, music, band, anything that can kind of help you just be a well-rounded person, but you're gonna definitely need the core courses, and we'll talk about how many of those are in a second. So math, these are the approved math courses for Fargo South. And natural physical science, those languages, those have been approved. Okay, so when we talk about being a qualifier, that means that you've met all the requirements, met these requirements, and you're allowed to receive a scholarship, practice, and compete in that first year if you're a qualifier. So you have to meet 16 core courses. Okay, that's the English, math, science, social science, and then additional. There's a core course progression, we'll talk about that, meeting before your start of your senior year. GPA, in the core courses. So on your transcript, you're probably gonna have you could have a 2.9 cumulative GPA, but if your core course isn't a 2-3, you're not gonna be eligible. So there's gonna be a difference. When we look at a transcript, we're only looking at core courses to determine a grade point average. Okay? So that's that piece. So some of the core course progression information. Okay? Basically, taking 4 core courses every year is gonna get you to the 16 that you're gonna need. English, math, science, social science, that sort of thing. Now, most of the time, you're probably gonna take 1 or 2 more classes to fill out your schedule and that sort of thing. So, you see right here, you need to complete 10 of the 16 core courses before the start of your senior year. Okay? And 7 of them have to be in English, math, or science. So they're good with their core courses with this example. Okay? So we take these 10 core courses, and 7 of them need to be in English, math, science. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Definitely meeting that one.
Can I ask you a question about this one?
Yep.
So looking at this, because I'm glad you came because I wanted to learn more information too. But so if they don't, let's say that they really didn't do what they needed to do and they flunked some of those Englishes or maths or sciences, they can't really just hurry up and take them their 12th grade year then, is what you're saying.
Right, because you're only allowed a maximum of 6 core courses during your senior year. So if you only have, well, if you're that short, you're not gonna meet the 7-10 rule, basically. So,
And is that C or above or D or above? Do you know?
it's passing, it's
That's
D or above.
D, yeah.
But then you've gotta meet the GPA.
Yes,
So you get
yep.
Ds and then, but, I know this is it's a little bit confusing sometimes, but just wanna be on track with your core courses and that sort of thing and what you're taking. And really, every school, everyone should have information about this from the NCAA, whatever high school in the country, even small schools, big schools, that sort of thing, should have all this information that they can relay to their students. Okay, so 16 core courses. You have to have 4 English. You have to have 3 years of math, 2 years of science, 1 year of one of those, English, math, or science, 2 years of social science, and then 4 years of additional, which could be another social science, could be a language, could be another science, just depending on what you want to take. But definitely the 4, 3, the 2, 1, 2, and the 4. Just again showing the 2.3 is core GPA. Okay, that is not your cumulative GPA. That would include all your PE and art and that sort of thing. And then graduating from high school with your class that you started in 9th grade. So there are some rules. Say you failed a grade and then you graduated later. There's some different rules whether that person is going to be eligible or not. So you have to graduate from when you started with your 9th grade class, 4 years after that. So standardized test scores, the NCAA does not require that anymore. So ACT, SATs aren't required for initial eligibility. However, some colleges may require it. NDSU does not require the standardized test score anymore for admission. But some look at it for scholarships and that sort of thing. But initial eligibility, they got away with that a couple years ago. If kids were in here, this would be fun.
Yes, that would be.
So basically, the students are responsible. They're responsible for kind of understanding if they want to be a college athlete, what are they going to have to do? Obviously talking to counselors, that sort of thing. And then college coaches can't necessarily even start talking to kids until, after their sophomore year. So you could be a little late by then, but we're always available. If anyone ever has questions, high schools call us all the time asking about eligibility requirements and that sort of thing, so, we have a website and all of our names are on it, so we can contact. And that's with any college that you would be interested in. They always have, most have a person like me in their athletic department that's gonna answer these questions. Okay, so that was kind of academic stuff. Any questions? I mean, you don't know what you don't know, so, but that was kind of just the academic piece on it for initial eligibility and that sort of thing. I wanted to go through just some recruiting stuff. You got different recruiting terms that our coaches all have to follow. They have recruiting calendars, times of the year that they can do these things. A contact period is a time when they can be off campus and they can actually have in-person contact with a recruit. Most of the time it's when they're a junior or senior. They're not really talking to anybody who's a freshman or a sophomore. They can also evaluate during that period. Evaluation period is they can only go and watch games, watch competitions, that sort of thing. They can't talk to anybody in person. A recruiting period is both. Those are included in that. Quiet periods, that's a time when coaches cannot be off campus recruiting at all. They can bring kids on campus for visits, official visits, unofficial visits, that sort of thing. Or talk to students who might be just visiting on their own to campus. Dead period and shutdown periods, nothing's happening then. Dead period, coaches can't be off campus, we can't bring kids on campus. And the shutdown period is actually, there's no communication. This women's basketball has this one for sure. I think softball does, and they can't write them, they can't call them. It's just kind of like, let's just give everybody a break, right? So that happens for them. Women's basketball in August and May, they have that period. So it's kind of good for everybody. You don't ever want to be hounding kids all that much. So, and it's good for the coaches too to not have to do anything. Again, if some students were in here, are you being recruited? Is anyone calling you? Are they texting you? Are they sending you emails? Have they asked to come visit your school? Have they asked you to come visit their school? So just different things that the kids can kind of look for. Are they being recruited? That sort of thing. Hi guys. Students here.
Yes.
What year?
Senior.
Senior? Athletes?
Yeah.
Used to be.
Or used to be.
All right. What do you play?
I did track.
Yeah. Awesome. Thinking about doing anything in college?
For
Maybe?
like sports?
Yeah.
No.
No? Well, maybe after this you might want to. So we're talking about just NCAA rules for college athletes and that sort of thing. So there's a couple different types of campus visits. Official visits, which the institution would pay for your transportation, your meals, your hotel, that sort of thing. It's usually no earlier than your junior year can you take an official visit. And you can only, like say you're gonna come to NDSU for a visit, you can only do that one time that we would pay for. And I think you're allowed to take as many official visits as you want, but just one per school. We can provide complimentary tickets to like a football game, and then we can also, pay for meals and pay for movies and stuff like that that you would spend time with the other student athletes on the team. An unofficial visit is nothing, we don't pay for anything, you're coming on your own. Depends on the sport when you can come. Women's basketball, I know they can come as a freshman. I know men's basketball, they can't go until a sophomore, and softball, I think it's not until your junior year. So, depends on the sport for a lot of NCAA rules. You can take as many unofficial visits to a school as you want to. The only thing we can do for you on unofficial is give you some tickets to a home game. Okay. Switching gears a little bit to the eligibility that our current student athletes have to follow. Once they get to us, they've made that initial eligibility, so they're okay for their freshman year. What happens after that? Well, they've got to be making progress in their degree. Okay, we don't just go willy-nilly taking whatever courses they want to take and that sort of thing. We look at their academics after each semester. We look at their GPA, we look at how many credits they've passed, making sure that they actually are going towards their degree and that sort of thing. What's their GPA? We take a look at that. After their sophomore year, their 5th semester, they need to be meeting 40% of their degree. The next year, 60%, and then 80%. So they've got to stay on track for whatever major they want. If you change majors, you need to know what's going on, because you have to meet those percentages in whatever major you're gonna declare. So our current student athletes do a great job. We had a semester GPA last spring of a 3.5 for all of our athletes. So that's 16 sports, about 425 student athletes. Really proud of what they do academically. A lot of 4.0s, a lot of dean's list kids and that sort of thing. And they're in every degree possible. They're in engineering, they're in teaching, they're in ag and that sort of thing.
How does it work if you didn't necessarily do, for me, I didn't take sports for my last 2 years of high school, well, last one, I guess, but, so would I be able to do sports in college or not, because I didn't do it?
You can, if a coach has seen you before and they think you can play and they've evaluated you and doing whatever you can do, yeah.
Because could you go to tryouts and do tryouts, or?
Some sports have a tryout, some don't, but some do, yeah. Depending on where you would go, what school, what level you're at.
Okay.
I think some people would love to have you try out. What sport do you like to do?
Kind of just everything. I was kind of thinking of volleyball, but I know sometimes, being a student and an athlete can just be, really, really hard.
Mhm.
So I don't know if I would be able to, do all that, since I don't know how college works. So,
Yeah, it's hard, but
Those
Just
volleyball
gotta
is
have-
in the beginning of the school year too.
Yeah, yeah. It's hard, but we have really good resources. We have a good academic staff that works with our athletes, advising them, and then they also have their major advisors as well. Welcome, athletes. Athlete? What year are you in school right now? Senior, okay. What year are you in school right now? Athlete, obviously. Looking to play somewhere else? Not yet? Don't know? Okay.
Maybe a little early.
All right, the other thing that our student athletes, there's a limit on is, their countable athletic activities, which is practice and that sort of thing. So when they're out of season, they're limited to 8 hours a week, which involves skill instruction, which is some practice stuff, any film that they might be doing, strength and conditioning in the weight room, and they need to have 2 days off each week out of season. When they're in season, they're limited to 20 hours a week, 4 hours a day is the limit. That's practice, again, the weight room, film, any competitions they have, and they have to have 1 day off each week. So most of the time, our coaches aren't even coming close to 20. They're usually about 15 or 16 hours a week. Now, that doesn't count the training room, that doesn't count academic meetings or anything like that. That's strictly athletic activities. So, but there's a limit, and we know that students have to eat, sleep, go to class, and recover and that sort of thing. So that's why there's limits on what they can do. Just another form that I got off the website, time management, what you're doing as a student athlete. You're really, most of your time is academics and athletics. And that's where you have to have good time management. You gotta have good, kind of a balance of what you're doing each week and every day and that sort of thing, and be organized. So the only thing I can say is just keep doing what you're doing. If you're interested in being a college athlete, talk to your coaches here, talk to guidance counselors. But yeah, so sorry for you guys who came in late, but yeah. Do you guys have any burning questions? I was talking about some initial eligibility requirements that high school kids